In February 1987, while delivering his 33-page judgment which took about 80 minutes, Justice Omo Agege said, and I quote, "Anini will forever be remembered in the history of crime in this country, but it would be of unblessed memory." Well, Nigeria has recorded two types of armed robbers, Nomanyakpon Anini and others. No armed robber has ever held the entire country to ransom as Anini did. Stay tuned as to bring to you the brutal but interesting story of Nomanyakpon Anini, the most notorious criminal in the history of Nigeria, who terrorized old Bendel states, which is today Delta and Edo states, and its environs in the early 1980s. But before we begin, if you're new to our channel, you're highly welcome to LoroMA TV, and please do well to hit on that subscribe button, and do not forget to turn on the notification bell so you can always stay notified and updated whenever we post a new video. We post very interesting content every day. Without further ado, let's jump right into our story. Born Nomanyakpon Anini in 1960, Anini was from Orogo village in Orium 1 local government area, about 100 kilometers away from Benin City in present-day Edo State. He was the second child and only son of his mother. It was later revealed that his father, who died in 1980, had a son with another woman. Anini left his village to the city of Benin, which was the capital of the then Bendel state, at a very young age. Although his dream was to become a driver, Anini was forced to enroll in a school which was against his wish. He was admitted into Oza Primary School, where he was always found guilty of breaking one school rule or the other. He was really a problem child. Well, he struggled to finish his primary education and was later admitted into Ugiodomo Secondary School in Benin City. Unfortunately, he did not spend more than 3 years in the school. He later dropped out to pursue another dream as an apprentice in one of the local mechanic workshops in Benin City. This was around 1976. He was later fired from the mechanic shop by his master due to his criminal lifestyle. He learned how to drive and started driving a taxi within the city of Benin. Despite being very young, at the motor park, his words was the law. He was highly respected by touts in the park, and he became known for resolving motor park crises. Hence, he was fondly called the law. But he soon channeled his driving skills into crime. Anini formed a deadly gang which comprised of Monday Osubo, Friday Ofege, Henry Ekbawon, Iweka, and Alaji ZZ or Zegezege, who was never captured. They started out as car hijackers, bus robbers, and bank thieves. He sealed a pact with corrupt police officers and ruled the city of Benin with reckless abandon. The complicity of the police is believed to have triggered Anini's reign of terror in 1986. Highway robberies, carjackings, bank raids. Anini was a specialist in all aspects of pilfering with a gun. Gradually, he extended his criminal act to other towns and cities far north and east of the city of Benin. Anini's criminal career started in the early 1980s and reached its peak between August and December 1986, when he finally met his Waterloo. Residents of Bendel and neighboring states lived in fear and panic, while Anini and his men had a free reign of terror. The media named him the Outlaw King of Benin. In August 1986, Anini and his gang raided First Bank, Sanbogidaora in Edo State. They stole $2,000. A dollar exchanged for 5 naira in 1986, converted at today's exchange rate of 480 naira. What Anini and his gang members stole 34 years ago would be equivalent to around 190,000 naira in today's exchange rate. On October 21st, 1986, after stealing 46,000 from the Agbo branch of African Continental Bank, Anini drove into a nearby market and spread part of his loot from his getaway car to passerby. This action, which he reportedly replicated numerous times, earned him the title Robin Hood, after a British folklore character who robbed the rich and shared the proceeds with the poor. Anini was tagged the Robin Hood of Benin City. Anini was brutal and policemen were his top victims. A total of 20 persons, 11 policemen and 9 civilians were reportedly killed by Anini and his gang, explaining his reason for unleashing terror on the men in uniform. This Week magazine of December 15, 1986 quoted Anini, who only expressed himself in pidgin English, as saying, "I did not kill police. My own is to do my own. I am a driver, I drive. I always beg them not to kill policemen, not to kill people. My only problem with the police is that them kill my father and my brother at Ibadan, and my friend Kingsley Eweka, who was a Benin prince and a member of Anini's gang." Anini became so emboldened that he started writing letters to his potential victims to announce his planned visit, and he never failed to honor his words. At the set time and date, Anini visited. In August 1986, Anini wrote a letter to the manager of the New Nigerian Bank, Ring Road branch in Benin City, informing the bank that because he intended to visit anytime, the sum of 10,000 naira should be set aside for him. Charles Enoncho wrote in The Rise and Fall of Anini. Anini gave his address as number 1 million Anywhere Street within the city, Benin, Bendel State. That was the address Anini used for all of his letters. Rather than report to the police, the bank ran to the Oba of Benin to report Anini's letter to the traditional authority. There was a wide belief in the city that the police could not be trusted. Many residents who may have aided the police with information that could have facilitated Anini's arrest also suspected that they may be accused of being accomplices, or the police might send their names to Anini. Some even feared they could be killed. At the height of Anini's terror, the then head of state, Ibrahim Babangida, challenged the Inspector General of Police, Etim Inyang, and demanded Anini's whereabouts. After a meeting of the Armed Forces Ruling Council in October 1986. In a letter he reportedly addressed to the head of state in October 1986, Anini wrote, "Tell our president we like him, but we are not happy here in Bendel. The payment for everything is too much. That is why I now divide any money I get to the people." Newswatch magazine, in its October 27, 1986 publication, listed the 6 conditions Anini gave for peace to return to the city of Benin. The letter reads, "No more prosecution of innocent armed robbers. A stop to collusion between the police and the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers and with members of the Ogboni cult. No more harassment of market women returning from their work. The abolition of collection of 50 kobo to 5 naira by the highway patrol team. Equal treatment for everybody and fair treatment for all legitimate drivers by the police." This was Anini's request to the head of state, General Babangida, in a letter. From the tone and content of the letter, it would not be out of place to say he had positioned himself as an advocate for the National Union of Road Transport Workers, his former trade union, and the market women, and he didn't fail to speak for his fellow criminals, whom he described as innocent armed robbers. In December 1986, Bendel heaved a sigh of relief from Anini's reign of terror after a heightened manhunt launched by the police. A 10-man team of crack policemen, led by the Superintendent of Police Kayode Omonaroro brought an end to his atrocities on December 3rd, 1986. He was in his usual merriment mode in the company of ladies at number 26 Oyemwosan Street opposite Ugudala Primary School, Benin City, when the police, acting on a tip-off, invaded the house and apprehended him with very little resistance. According to multiple accounts, when the police knocked on the door of the room, Anini himself opened it. They asked, "Where is Anini?" He tried to play smart and said, "Oh, Anini is under the bed in the inner room." He responded and made swift moves to walk past Omonaroro and his team. In the process, he shoved and head-butted the police officer, but it was an exercise in futility. Omonaroro promptly reached for his gun, stepped hard on Anini's right toes, and shot at his left ankle. Anini surged forward, but the policemen took hold of him and put him in a sitting position. They then pumped more bullets into his short leg and almost severed the ankle from his entire leg. Already anguished by the pain, the policemen asked him again, "Are you Anini?" And he replied, "My brother, I won't deceive you. I won't tell you lie. I'm Anini." While in the police nets, Anini, who had a poor command of English and could only communicate in Pidgin, made a whole lot of revelations. He disclosed, for instance, that Osobo, who had been arrested earlier, was his deputy, saying that Osobo actually shot and wounded the former police boss of the state, Akagbosu. The daredevil robber also revealed that some policemen assisted them in the criminal operations in Bendel state and the entire country. Anini particularly revealed that George Yamo, who was the most senior police officer shielding the robbers, would reveal police secrets to them and then give them logistic support such as arms to carry out robbery operations. Because of the numerous gunshots, Anini had one of his legs amputated in a military hospital. When his hideout was searched, police recovered assorted charms, including the one he usually wore around his waist during operations. All charms were disposed after his arrest. Due to amputation of his leg, Anini was confined to a wheelchair throughout his trial. He was sentenced to death by Justice Omo Agege and executed on March 29, 1987.